The following program is sponsored by Jewish Federation of Palm Beach County.
Welcome to our 47th season of Mosaic. I'm your host, Susan Shulman Pertnoy. Mosaic is Jewish Federation of Palm Beach County's weekly news magazine, exploring the most critical issues facing Jews here and around the world. Today, we're discussing a major development in our own backyard, as Vanderbilt University recently revealed plans to open a new graduate school campus right here in West Palm Beach. We'll talk with Vanderbilt Chancellor Daniel Diermeier about the future of this campus and the university's revolutionary approach to handling protests following the events of October 7th. Then, Federation CEO Michael Hoffman joins us to share his perspective on what this means for our community. That's today on Mosaic. We're so proud to celebrate our community visionaries, donors who contribute $1 million or more, serving as an inspiration for all of Jewish Palm Beach. Did you know that you can now enjoy Mosaic on the go? Listen to the Mosaic podcast by scanning the QR code on the screen or find it wherever you listen to podcasts.
If you want to make a difference in the lives of people, there's no better place to be engaged, involved, and give than the Jewish Federation of Palm Beach County.
And being a part of our collective efforts, we are able to strengthen Jewish life, care for those people in need, care for the people of Israel, and confront anti-Semitism and acts of hatred against the Jewish community.
This is just the beginning. We can build this community even bigger and better.
Together, we can look to a very, very bright future.
Now is the time. Come and try something that you've never tried before.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Join us because the mission of the Federation has never been more critical than it is today.
Welcome back. The planned arrival of Vanderbilt University to the Palm Beaches has been called a game changer for our region's economy and culture. So joining us today is the Chancellor of Vanderbilt University, Daniel Diermeier. Welcome to Palm Beach and welcome to Mosaic.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
It's really a thrill to have you to talk about this historic expansion of our community. So let's start with the big picture.
Yeah.
Why West Palm Beach?
So we have been thinking about expanding our footprint for a while. And one of the things that's really driving our thinking is we want to be in communities that are growing, that are thriving, and where we can do things in a way that allows us to have a contribution to the community and also create something really fantastic that we couldn't necessarily do in Nashville. And the West Palm Beach and the Palm Beach County overall was naturally something that we looked at. It's a thriving community. It has strengths that are complementary to what we're trying to do in the area of finance, technology, but also engineering, in a whole variety of areas that would be wonderful for us to be part of. And so that's really what started the project. But what we have learned is that there's so many more opportunities that we want to explore fully. And so we're really excited to be part of the community.
Can you also paint us a picture of what the campus will look like?
Yes, so it's about 7 acres, a little bit over 7 acres. We had great support from the county and from the city that supported us there. We're looking at around 1,000 students, mostly graduate students, but there will also be a destination for undergraduates, kind of a smaller number, 100 faculty. So it's a proper residential campus. We love the idea of a tropical arboretum. That's how we're thinking about it. So the Vanderbilt campus, it's known for its beautiful trees. It's kind of a park-like setting, almost a garden. And we'd love to have a connection with that in how we're thinking about the new campus in West Palm Beach. So that's our first thinking, but we're still early in the process. We're still talking to architects and landscape architects, and all that will develop in due course.
How do you see these programs reshaping our local workforce?
Yes, there's so much dynamism and energy right now in West Palm Beach and Palm Beach County. I mean, we're seeing tremendous growth. We're seing an influx of talent, of businesses, and we want to be part of that. I mean, that's the most important thing for us, is that we are committed and dedicated to being a great partner for the community. That means having close partnerships with public officials, with the county, with the city, but also with the businesses. And so what we're doing right now is to make sure is that what we're offering on the education and research side is a great fit for the community. We have a couple of areas that I just mentioned that we're particularly excited about, but we're also learning about new opportunities. To just give you one example, we have in conversations with the city and with the county also about some of the policy challenges that come with great growth, and so we want to be part of that as well, just like we did in Nashville.
That's really terrific. You're a vocal proponent of something called principled neutrality. Can you explain that concept?
Absolutely. Everything that we do at Vanderbilt is really driven by our purpose. And our purpose fundamentally is to be a place for path-breaking research and a transformative education. And we firmly believe that a culture of civil discourse and free expression and open inquiry is really essential in order to be creating an environment where new ideas can flourish, whether it's among the faculty or among the students. And so we have these 3 pillars that were foundational to how we're thinking about creating such a culture, such an environment. There's a commitment to free speech, which we call open forums. There's a commitment to principled or institutional neutrality that you just mentioned. And the third one is with respect to civil discourse. Institutional neutrality is really about being clear that a university's purpose is to be a university. It is a place where we want to encourage debate, not settle it. And that means for us that we will not take positions on contested political or policy issues, for example, on foreign policy issues. That is very important for us because it creates the environment where our faculty can explore their ideas and where our students can learn how to think for themselves. And then that's combined with our commitment for civil discourse that makes sure that we never forget that we're members of one community, dedicated to living and learning together. We use arguments, we use reasonings, we don't shout each other down, we don't exclude each other just because we're disagreeing. These 3 things together have really been instrumental for creating a culture of development and growth intellectually and as people that has been so essential for our students.
Do many of the universities across the country adhere to this philosophy?
Well, I would say we were some of the pioneers. So it was us and really a couple of other universities that had been committed to that for a while, and then we sharpened that committee. We articulated it more clearly, but at the time, when you look back about 2 years ago, it was no more than 4 or 5 universities in the country that had a firm commitment to institutional or principled neutrality. Then October 7th happened, and we could see how devastating and how difficult it can be to maintain a university and a campus community if you're not clear about what your principles and values are. A lot about the drama and the conflict on campus was about denouncing Israel of genocide or making sure that universities would sever their ties with businesses that had connections to Israel.
The BDS movement.
The BDS movement, for example. Well, the BDS movement is inconsistent with a commitment to institutional neutrality. So having that commitment made it very clear for us that there was no place for these type of activities at Vanderbilt. I think that set an example for other universities. We also talked about it. We were very vocal proponents of that. Now we have over 150 universities that have adopted the same standard.
How do you balance the commitment to neutrality with the responsibility of the university to combat anti-Semitism and hatred and protect your students on campus?
So this is a very important question. It's a difficult question. We are proud that we were the first and at the time the only university that got the top rating from FIRE, which is the big advocacy group from free speech on campus, and from the Anti-Defamation League. So we had top ratings both from the ADL and from FIRE. So we believe that the key is to be clear about your principles, to be then also clear about building a culture of civil discourse, because principles is one place, but culture is another place. And so what that means is that on campus our students, they can express their ideas, they can debate, they can have all sorts of discussions with each other, and they do, but they do it in a spirit and an environment where they respect each other. That's the most important thing.
But how do you reinforce these principles?
Building culture is not easy. It requires a lot of different things. It requires clarity of that. It requires that I'm clear about that, that our people are clear about that. It means that when students come and thinking about joining Vanderbilt, they're clear that that's our expectation, that's our culture. We talk about it all the time. And then when they arrive on campus, that we have programming around that. So for example, the first thing that students do when they arrive on campus, they sign a pledge, which we call the community creed, which embodies those principles. So it's something where they commit to those principles, but very importantly, they also commit to hold each other accountable to that, so that they play a role in that. Then I spent 90 minutes with all the freshmen. Then we have programming. Then there's the residential life. Then there's a whole bunch of activities, all of that under the umbrella that we call Dialogue Vanderbilt. So it's not one thing you have to do, and it's not just about setting that these are the rules, but the rules have to become part of the culture, and that has to be practiced, and that has to be learned and to
reinforced.
Be reinforced all the time.
Yeah.
But so the challenge is many of the students, when they come from high schools, are not prepared for that, because the high schools, unfortunately, do not create a culture of civil discourse that allows the students to just continue that when they go to college.
So how does a student feel safe enough to verbalize how they feel without being threatened to be isolated or ostracized?
Yes, this is a critical question. And this is something we really realized over the last 2 years. Students that come to Vanderbilt and to any other university, even though we spend a lot of time making sure that they're ready for that that's the place where they want to be, that they know that they will join a university that prides itself on a culture of civil discourse, even though when they come, they are sometimes afraid to speak up, to talk about the ideas that they really believe, because they're worried that they're going to be ostracized, they're going to be isolated, not going to be invited to the parties, all these type of things. And that fear is real, because many of them have had experience in high school where that happened to some of their friends, and so they hold back. That's not what we want. That's not what a great transformative education is all about. So the key point is to create a culture of trust among the students. And the way we do this is as part of the activities that are part of Dialogue Vanderbilt. For example, we have at the beginning, in the first week when the students arrive on campus, they have a discussion about like a conversation with like 15 of their peers. And then we bring in juniors, students that have been at Vanderbilt for a couple of years already, to demonstrate what it's like to be at Vanderbilt. So there's a topic on immigration or abortion or whatever controversial topic we have. They have a real debate, but they're friends. And so the students learn that you can explore your ideas, you can disagree, but you will still be members of one community that supports and challenges you at the same time.
So important, it's really so critical. Can you comment on universities espousing political agendas?
Yes, this is really the whole key component and I think a key feature of what institutional neutrality is all about. Universities are universities, they're not political departments, they're not members of political movements. They are the place where knowledge is created and where knowledge is conveyed to students and to the public. Path-breaking research, transformative education. The moment we slide into an environment where we're deviating from that purpose, we're going to get into trouble. So it's utterly critical that everything that we do our principles, our values, and the culture that we have on campus is consistent with that and is reinforcing that. And that requires work, because the pressures to take positions, to move on one side of the political spectrum or the other, are enormous. And the students, it's very important that the students play an active role in that. So we have these student ambassadors on campus that are ambassadors for Dialogue Vanderbilt. And it has now, it's very popular. We had to add a special program for our freshmen on that. And they understand that now, and they help us to reinforce that culture, is that's the way we do things around here. And it has dramatic benefits for the culture on campus. Sometimes when people visit us, they say, oh my God, you're like a kind of the island of happiness, in a sea of despair. What is that all about? Well, it is the hard work of creating a culture where people respect each other and are committed to the same purpose.
That's why your school is so popular right now. You really created, kudos to the culture that you've managed to create and reinforce. But how do you balance a classroom where the professors, you want a diversity of professors and thought, right, in the classrooms. But then how do you balance that with indoctrination, against indoctrination of the students? It seems like it's a fine line.
I think the most important thing is that we need to make sure that we create a classroom environment where the students can learn free of indoctrination. Now, that doesn't mean we're not going to talk about controversial topics. It doesn't mean we're not going to have ideas that the students are exposed to that will really challenge them. But that's different from having an indoctrination. And the indoctrination is not consistent with a path-breaking education. And when that happens, then we need to look into that. We're fortunate that our faculty share the same commitments. There's a very strong support for core principles about academic freedom. And all of that is another way to reinforce the same core purpose that we all share. So from time to time there's issues. One always has that, obviously, and we're gonna, whenever we have that, we deal about it. But I think the overall sense of like our students, our faculty, our alums, our parents, the staff, is really that there's an alignment of what the university is all about and what its values are.
You've had a long, enriched academic career. What stands out to you?
What was most amazing and gratifying about being an academic, and I was a professor for 20 years, was the great projects that you get involved in, the wonderful people that you collaborate with. I always had broad interest at a focus area. I was a business school professor for 20 years at Northwestern and at Stanford University. But what is so wonderful of being in the university is that you can evolve, you can grow. Is that what you start out with? Not necessarily the thing you're gonna end up with.
Isn't that true?
Yes, and having the opportunity to be, in great universities at like Stanford, like Northwestern, University of Chicago, Vanderbilt is extremely gratifying.
Well, we are so thrilled that you are going to create a campus here in our region. We're going to talk about that, but we have to take a quick break. We'll be right back after this brief message. Coming up, Federation CEO Michael Hoffman joins the conversation to discuss the impact of the planned Vanderbilt campus. Stay with us. Did you know that you can now enjoy Mosaic on the go? Listen to the Mosaic podcast by scanning the QR code on the screen or find it wherever you listen to podcasts.
Since October 7th, we have seen our community come together in ways we could not have anticipated.
We can no longer sit on the sidelines. We can no longer be silent.
And that's what led to the Activating Jewish Life movement. Now is the time for us to act.
I can no longer not be involved.
Now is the time for us to advocate.
I need to step up.
Now is the time for us to invest.
We're going to show up for ourselves, and we're going to show up for one another.
The Activate Jewish Life movement is a first of its kind. intends to connect with families with children, to connect with teens, to connect with young adults.
That makes me very happy. Like, it gives hope for the future.
That feels great because I know my people are willing to stand up and say what they think is right.
And ensure that they always feel as though they're part of something larger than themselves, being part of a larger Jewish community.
Make an initiative to have it more widespread is exactly the moment.
It's such a unique opportunity to be able to launch a bold initiative just like this.
A bold plan, a necessary plan.
The Activate Jewish Life movement is going to be a game changer.
I think it's a no-brainer.
However people want to engage with Jewish life, we want to make sure that we are providing them with an opportunity to engage in ways that have relevance and meaning for them.
As Jews, as the minority, I think we need to show who we are and be proud of who we are.
I'm proud to be Jewish.
I'm proud to be Jewish.
I'm proud to be Jewish.
No one is standing alone, and I am proud to be Jewish.
Just as our grandparents and parents invested in us, and we're now investing in our children need to recognize L'Dor V'Dor.
L'Dor V'Dor.
L'Dor V'Dor.
L'Dor V'Dor.
L'Dor V'Dor. L'Dor V'Dor. L'Dor V'Dor. L'Dor V'Dor.
From generation
to generation.
From generation
to generation.
From generation
to generation.
What an opportunity we have to change the face of Jewish life.
Welcome back. We're continuing our conversation with the Chancellor of Vanderbilt University, Daniel Diermeier, and joining us now is a Mosaic regular, a very familiar face, Michael Hoffman, who's the president and CEO of our Jewish Federation. Michael, welcome back to Mosaic.
Susan, it's always wonderful to be here with you.
Michael, you've been watching the transformation of our community for over 10 years now. What is your reaction to Vanderbilt University having a presence here?
What an extraordinary opportunity that we're going to have a university of such caliber, of such stature in the United States, setting up shop here in West Palm Beach. They're bringing to this community a great deal of reputation, of intellect. They're going to enrich this entire community. And we're just thrilled that all the students are going to be coming into West Palm Beach at this graduate campus. The faculty, we're just thrilled to embrace them, and we look forward to the partnership that we're going to be developing with Vanderbilt University.
So, speaking of that partnership, Federation prides itself on being a convener of community. Mm-hmm. So how does that partnership look between Federation and Vanderbilt?
We know they're coming to the table with a vast amount of experience of working with other communities, where in their main campus in Nashville, or where they set up satellite campuses, they know how to basically bring to the community and find ways to sort of embed themselves in a community. I think for us within the Jewish community, we want to work collaboratively with Vanderbilt to ensure that we are welcoming the Jewish students and the Jewish faculty and their families, and make sure that they feel as though that they have a home here in the greater Palm Beach Jewish community. And at the same time, we're going to work with them and collaborate with them to see other areas of study and academic performance that we can sort of collaborate with them to enrich our community, lifelong learning opportunities, figure out how our agencies can incorporate the services that they provide with the expertise that Vanderbilt can be sharing with our Jewish community.
So I'm going to flip the question to you, Daniel. How do you see the partnership working between the university and our federation?
Yes, we are very committed to having partnerships with the community and the key foundations and the members, the core members of the civic community. And so we very much look forward to working with the federation. We have deep experience for doing that, and we did this very successfully. We have done this very successfully in Nashville. We, as was mentioned before, we started operating in New York already, so we're doing it there as well. The whole point of us being in West Palm Beach is to be deeply integrated with the community, and that's both the business community, that's the innovation community, but it's also the civic community. And it creates so many opportunities, both for the community and for the university in a whole variety of ways. And sometimes there are things that we can't even imagine right now that emerge through the dialogue. And I think we need to in on that. We're looking forward to learning more and to being a great partner.
I think it's just a no-brainer. Michael, do you see Vanderbilt's presence as an opportunity to retain young Jewish leaders in our community?
By having Vanderbilt set up their graduate school here, it's an incredible opportunity where they're also going to be bringing young Jewish talent into our community. And then by them coming into our community, we'll have ways in which to engage with them and connect with them. And then because our business community has developed so significantly, where they will then hopefully work in some of the financial service firms and other technological firms that are setting up shop here. So for us, being able to collaborate with Vanderbilt on the ground floor, we can set up those designs and those opportunity to build a continuum. So these young Jewish leaders are coming into the community, we can embrace them, and then we can ensure that there's effective handoffs so they feel welcome and they have sustained engagement within Jewish life.
One last question for both of you. Moving forward 10 years from now, from this moment, what does success look like for the partnership between the university and our community? Chancellor,
number
you first.
Number one is we want to have a thriving, successful academic program that is a destination, a magnet for talent, where we see exciting research and educational programs that are among the very best in the country. But then the second part is we really want to be a partner of the community. It's exciting for us to be part of West Palm Beach and Palm Beach County. And the more we can partner in being a key component in helping this community to write its next chapter, the better this is, I think. It's be a great opportunity for us to really be intentional about that, to see what we can bring to the table beyond the type of academic programs that we are going to focus on. We have a lot to offer as a university, and we're excited to really make this available to the whole community.
Thank you. Michael?
In 10 years, having this relationship with Vanderbilt University in our community and collaborating with our Jewish community, they're going to elevate us in ways that we couldn't have imagined and we couldn't have thought about. They're going to elevate us, they're going to enrich us. In 10 years, we're going to be seeing students who have graduated and will have started very successful careers, now serving in the most senior leadership positions, not just in the Jewish community, but the general community. We will have faculty that will have embedded themselves into a thriving Jewish community. We will have find ways for our agencies to develop potentially opportunities for collaboration, research, internships, whatever it is. And we will kind of take advantage of their expertise that they've been able to implement in other communities across the country, whether it's their main campus in Nashville, other satellite locations. End of the day, we want there to be a thriving Palm Beach Jewish community and a greater Palm Beach community. And having a campus of this magnitude, of this stature in our community is really, it's absolutely exciting.
It really is. This is going to be so enriching for our community. We're very fortunate. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us today.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
This program is sponsored by Jewish Federation of Palm Beach County.